Everyone. Welcome to join in Rob and Andrew After Dark here on YouTube, Facebook, Pill.net, and more. We are here with an update here. Going to give you guys some content on our other platforms. We've been on AmericaOutloud.com and America Out Loud app on iHeartRadio. You could catch us there. Catch us on Talk Radio every night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. It's been going good. How are you doing tonight, Rob?
I'm doing great. I'm glad that we are able to go on tonight to our fans who like to watch us and see our teeth on Facebook, YouTube, and as you said, pill.net. We've moved over to a new platform. We've done a lot of hard work and we're excited about it on America Out Loud. And we can be heard on actually iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, and there's another, isn't there?
Oh, there's so many. There's
Yeah,
Stitcher, there's
Stitcher, yeah.
Apple Podcast, Google Podcast.
I always get Stitcher kind of confused. I'm like, Stitcher? I've never heard of Stitcher, but we're there. So if you're there, we're there, and you definitely want to tune in. This is a special live session tonight because, again, we just want to talk up our new platforms and let you guys know where we are. I mean, Andrew and I, we've been doing this for almost like a year or so now.
Couple years.
Yeah, a few years. And I've enjoyed it. We started out on Periscope. We had a huge following on Periscope. I think combined we had almost like 100,000 plus followers, and we're making a lot of strides. And I think that we were like our voices were resonating with a lot of people, and people were coming back that generally we would expect to follow us. There were a lot of liberals and moderates that wanted to hear our voices. And one of the liberals even actually sent us money to help us out on the platform. So I thought that was interesting, Andrew. I mean, that we were reaching across the aisle. Of course, you and I, we're both conservatives, but we're willing to listen to what other people have to say. We're not the kind of people that's going to just shut you down. As long as you're respectful, we will listen. So as I was saying, we had a huge on Periscope, and we were really digging it, really loved it, loved our followers. And then all at once, after January 6th, big tech came in and boom, shut us down. I was like, really? I mean, little old me, compared to some of the other accounts that are out there that make all types of, remarks and comments, and they're nasty, they're rude, but they came after us and they shut us down. I don't know about you, Andrew, but I saw it as a badge of honor joining the clubs of like President Trump and so many other conservatives that were kicked off the platform and shut down.
Yeah, in a way, we're going to go down in history along with the other 40,000 patriots or whatever it was that got suspended that day. We got suspended on a historic day of all days to get suspended from Twitter. How about the same day as our beloved president, Donald J. Trump?
Yeah.
Like you said, it's almost like a badge of honor to get suspended on the same exact day that they banned President Trump. They considered us such a threat that we were putting out so much good content, and like Rob said, reaching across the aisle. They knocked us out on the same day that they did our great president, Donald Trump.
They TK'd us, and I thought, man. Now, I was a bit taken aback, and I thought, wow, what am I going to do now? What do we do? How do we continue on? But we were resilient, and we said, hey, we will march forward. We will rebuild our audience. And I think the thing that hurt the most to me, or I was shocked by, not as much as Twitter kicked us off, because I thought it was going to happen at some point. But then I looked at the tweets that we had put out that day before and previously, and I'm like, there was nothing inflammatory. There was nothing threatening. We weren't saying to kill anyone. We weren't demeaning anyone. We were just speaking the truth. And I looked at some of my tweets, and the only thing I had done was I took clips from, different politicians and newscasters and just said, hey, this is what you said, and now you're saying this. I even said, to Jack, I'm like, Jack, look at what they're saying. And I guess they didn't like the fact that I was using their own truths or their own words back at them and showing people this is what they're saying. And if it was such a threat, it's like, but people can stop following us. They don't have to follow us. They don't have to listen to what we're saying. And the media is saying anyway that no one listens to President Trump. So where was the threat? So again, I was shocked that it happened because we had started building up, shocked but not shocked, because we had started building up our platform, building up our users, and then without notice, we were cut off. We're cut off from our users. We couldn't tell them, hey, you can go on Facebook, you can go here, you can go to Parler, you can go to Gab, Cloud Hub, and listen to us there or follow us there, Polychatter. We were just completely just shut down. And then trying to reach back out to those individuals and say, hey, here we are. Now, I know that some of them are on Cloud Hub, Parler, and I guess they're following me. I don't know. I guess I should assume that a majority of the followers were liberals who were just out to attack me. But nevertheless, we bounced back.
You know,
And yeah,
I was just gonna say, Rob, I remember probably 5 years ago when Alex Jones, Laura Loomer, they started getting banned off social media. Milo Yiannopoulos. A lot of people were saying, "Oh, it's just because they're off the rails, they're a little crazy." But I was against them being banned all the way back then because I don't believe in censorship. Maybe some of them do say some things that are a little off the rails or inaccurate, but they should have a right to speak on their platform or on all the social media platforms.
yeah.
And since then, it's only gotten worse and worse over the years. Now, everyday patriots who aren't even controversial, we've seen religious people get thrown off of Twitter. I mean, it's just crazy what they'll throw you off that app for now.
Well, not and I've always said, but people saying, well, it's a private platform. That's a sellout. That's a cop out. I hate hearing that because they're functioning as a utility company. They're protected under what is it, Section 230, and that should be removed. And why Republicans have not done it, conservatives have not done it, they're trying to be nice, is ridiculous. I am appalled by them. And there are enough Republicans, big money bigwigs, that are out there that could create their own platforms. Why aren't they doing it? Why are they sitting back and allowing liberals to take over everything? We have lost the culture warfare. Let's just be honest. Conservatives have lost the social warfare. We lost it because we sat back and oh, well, we have all of our money. We don't care what they say. That's for them. It's too fancy prancy. No, we have lost because we should be making our own movies. We should have our own media platforms. We should be far greater in our breadth of reach and spreading our policies and procedures than what we are. And once Parler was taken down, and I think that the guy over Parler, and Andrew, you and I, we said this many times on the show, in previous shows, that we didn't trust him because he wasn't a fighter. And I don't know where he is now. He's probably somewhere on some secluded island drinking martinis with some brick wig liberal. But Parler is back now. And
Rob,
yep.
what do you think's with all the, how liberals obviously own Hollywood, social media, mainstream media? Professional athletes are 90% liberal. What is with all these people that are rich and make these huge incomes being Democrats? It makes no sense to me because Democrats obviously like to take a majority of your money, especially rich people. Democrats are the ones who have a big problem with rich people. When are these folks in Hollywood, Major League Baseball, and the rest of these idiots going to wake up and see what the Democrats are doing to them?
They don't care. They just don't care. There are some of them that are waking up, like Richard Gervasi, that are seeing that, hey, what we're up against here is extremely dangerous. It's almost like the Red Scare, communism. And I would invite all of you, our guests, to go back and look at what happened during the McCarthy era when they were accusing people of being communists. No, some of them were, but once you were labeled, you were blackballed and you couldn't say anything. And that's where we are today, unfortunately. And people don't see it. They don't realize it. When you're trying to shut down someone because you don't like what they're saying, it's like shut them down. And the way they're doing it now is to say racism. Everything is racist. I am appalled and shocked at the way people just throw that word around so cavalier. It has lost its meaning. It has lost the stud that it did have, or the thud that it did have. Yes, there is racism in America. Yes, there are people who deliberately do things because they don't like a person because of their skin color. And not only some people would say, well, they're the uneducated. No, there are educated people that are doing this as well. It runs the gamut. but I do believe that they're few and far between. So when I hear this word systemic racism, I'm like, well, I wouldn't say systemic. Racism does exist, but there's a difference between racism and prejudice, with racism being at the very top of the ills of society. But when you look around you and see people in different positions and with money, and to say that it's racism, you look at Hollywood, look at the entertainment industry, look at the athletes, rich, and they're saying there's racism. Now, just going back, looking at Hollywood, the Oscars is upon us, and of course you'll start hearing things with, oh, Oscars too white, although they say they're going to diversify, and I didn't get this role because of this or that, and they have a valid point. I think in some instances there are some roles that blacks weren't allowed to have. They weren't making black movies that blacks could go in and audition for. But who's to blame for that? Who controls Hollywood? Liberals. You see what I'm getting at here? So when they're saying that there's systemic racism and that everyone is a racist, it's like you're talking about yourself because you control this. You control Hollywood. So why weren't you making movies to put black people in? You control it. But now you flip the script so successfully, and now you're saying it's the conservatives, it's their fault. No, it's not their fault. It is the fault of the big wigs in Hollywood who have refused to open up their doors to allow black actors and actresses the opportunities to walk through. I mean, let's think about it. They control this stuff. So how is it the fault of conservatives who just gave up so much ground on entertainment and the media? Look at the media platform. When you go inside of a newsroom, I used to be a reporter, a journalist. I still am a journalist, but I do offer my opinions. And you will know when it's my opinion because I will tell you so. Unlike some of the ones that are out there now that don't do it. But I digress. My point. You look at CNN, MSNBC, Washington Post, New York Times. I would venture to say if you were to doors of any of those establishments, it would be filled with lily white liberals. You would have your token black here and your token black there. But these lily white liberals are out telling us conservatives, white conservatives and black conservatives, that we're racist, that we're bad. Like, are you serious? Have you looked around you? Look at your staff. Look at the people who are there. And then when they do bring in blacks, they bring in the ones that think like them. Their minds are completely out there, that they can't see through to the light of day. I worked in a newsroom in Arkansas. I was the only black reporter there. The only black reporter. I'm thinking, like, what is this? Now, at the time I was there, the town was predominantly white. I didn't feel like, oh, my God, didn't feel like intimidated or anything. I think there was a one of the editors who was there who was incompetent, insecure, because I was a black reporter working there, that at times he tried to give me a hard time, but that was his problem, not my problem. So again, I would say to the media, look around you, look at your newsrooms, look at the people who are there before you start saying that other people are racist. Look at CNN. The other day, Brooke Baldwin left, and she complained that CNN is top heavy with men. It's like, are you serious, Brooke? Am I supposed to have sympathy for you? While when you were on camera, you could have called them out then. But you were too busy buying into the whole, they're hurting black people and they're the oppressors and they're this, and President Trump is a racist. So you fell into the game.
It's questionable.
Go ahead.
Oops, I was just going to say it's questionable to call those people on CNN men in the first place, huh?
Hey, I didn't say that. So don't send me these bad emails and tell me that wasn't true. But no, I agree with you. And I remember there was one of their guest pundits even said, he was black. He said that he was no longer on there. He said, because when you look at it, he said, I'm not gay. And most of the men that are there that are black are gay. Not that there's anything wrong with it. Don Lemon is gay. Victor Blackwell is gay. Van Jones, well, I don't know what's going on with Van Jones, but just think about it. So these are the images that they're putting out there for black men.
Mhm. You know, Rob, speaking of famous white celebrities, I woke up this morning and clicked on foxnews.com and I read a pretty hilarious article. Robert De Niro is going through some hard times with his black wife,
Ah,
and apparently he has been paying her $300,000 a month to keep her happy, and she is not happy with it. She wants more money from Robert De Niro than $300,000 a month. Now, this really cracked me up because obviously we know Robert De Niro, and this could not happen to a nicer guy, huh?
yeah.
And just what are your thoughts on Robert De Niro
Well,
owing
Bobby,
his ex-wife $300,000 a month now?
well, if I were her, I would take him to the cleaners. He's a known philanderer. He is his establishment. He doesn't live too far from me. I live in Fidei. He lives in Tribeca. And he owned a restaurant called Tribeca Grill. And apparently the story goes is that, and I don't know if he's married to this woman, he was living with this girlfriend, but the story, he has a penchant for black women. He loves black women. There's nothing wrong with that,
He likes those big black women butts. I think
Well,
his
hey, he
big
liked them
appeal.
round and robust, but he apparently, and he lived on top of his the restaurant, and whenever a good-looking black woman would come in, he would have the staffers to call him and would sit the woman next to a window so that he could come downstairs and walk by. And if she met his approval, he would go in and introduce himself. And this is all while he was married. So he's a philanderer. What he's going through now, hey, I hope she takes him to the cleaner. No, that being said, I do like some of his acting. He
Oh
was
yeah,
in The Deer Hunter. I thought he was great. He was
Goodfellas.
a Goodfellas. He was good. He's a good actor, but I don't like his politics. Gone older. He's been this like recalcitrant old curmudgeon man that just always out saying a lot of stuff. And he's gotten ugly as he's gotten older also.
Yeah, he's one of these Hollywood celebrities that you would actually admire and have a lot of respect for if he just
Yeah.
kept his mouth shut in his later years. He's cost
Yeah.
himself so many fans and so much respect
Yeah.
over his politics.
Yeah.
He'll never know it, but it's definitely harmed his legacy.
Well, it's the same thing with what's her name, Barbara Streisand. I used to like
Cher.
hearing her sing.
Hmm.
Cher used to like hearing them sing, but now, and it's not just them. I think it runs the gamut. Whenever I hear her now, I turn it off.
Hmm.
I have some of her CDs. I'll probably get rid of them after a while because it's so clouded with their politics. What is the other guy's name? Christy Teigen's husband,
John Legend.
John Legend. I wasn't always a John Legend fan, but some of his songs I like because I think he has a pretty decent voice. But now I can't even listen to him because I see and hear the politics. I can't look at a lot of individuals in movies because I see their politics. It's very hard for me to differentiate between the person and the politics because they've come so hard with their politics. George Clooney, never liked the guy. I know that a lot of women like him. I'm like, okay, whatever, but I've never liked him. There's one movie he was in, Robert Clayton. I thought that was an excellent movie. Well done. I loved it. But his other movies, I find it very hard to watch because I keep
Yeah.
seeing his politics.
He's overrated, I think, too. He takes a lot of bad roles where the movies are just boring. I mean, he's not a terrible actor, but he, like you said, he really doesn't have a list of great movies like a lot of good actors do.
No. Well, when you talk about good actors, I mean, I think the acting it is an art. I used to act myself at one point, but I think that it's gotten lost because when you look at a lot of the old movies, one of my favorite movies is very old, predates me, predates my parents, Witness for the Prosecution with Marlene Dietrich. It was a superb movie, black and white. I watch it all the time. Hitchcock's movie, all of them, the Birds, they were so well done. Window with the View, or View with the Window, or whatever. Just North by Northwest, Cary Grant. No, they acted, and we didn't know a lot about their personal lives. We didn't know a lot about their politics. I guess we know a lot about the actors now because of social media and 24-hour media. But back then you didn't know a lot about this stuff, and now these guys want you to know about it. They're up in your face, and I just don't. It does nothing for me. I want to be entertained, and even now, speaking of entertainment, everything has become so politically correct. Look at Idris Elba. He's saying that he doesn't want to play a role because he doesn't feel that the character has any black friends, Asian friends, and whatever kind of friends. It's like, dude, it's a character. It's make believe. Does everything have to be so politically correct? I don't get it. It's like, at some point, can we just live in the moment, have a little fantasy?
Mhm.
But everything is like, look at The Simpsons. The guy who was voicing the role of the Indian, he's apologizing for that.
Mhm. Rob, there's something I want to talk about real quick.
Yeah.
Last night I'm watching these fights. There's this big boxing match, this Jake Paul versus Ben Askren. This Jake Paul's known for being like some big YouTube star or something, and he's been doing some amateur boxing, and he boxed this UFC fighter who's like actually a wrestler. But anyways, I turned it on last night, was looking forward to that fight. But before you get to that fight, it's this promotion owned by Snoop Dogg, apparently. And this show's sold to a lot of kids and whatnot, you would imagine, because that Jake Paul's a big YouTube star. The show kicks off with Snoop Dogg smoking a blunt with Urkel from Family Matters.
Yeah.
And then you've got all these rappers and things on all night long. This Diplo, I can't even keep track of who was there. Ice Cube, Snoop Dogg, they were all there rapping and stuff. And every word is bitches and hoes and all this. It's just total embarrassment for. It was just embarrassing to watch, to tell you the truth. I was like, man, I barely was able to make it through. Obviously, I turned it off for quite some time, and I
Right.
turned it back for the main event. I illegally streamed it because I would not pay for that garbage. I felt really bad for anyone that paid $60 for that garbage.
Right.
But man, it was a joke.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's interesting that you would point that out. What they're saying, their colorful language, and a society whereby we are constantly saying that men are toxic. White men at the top of the chart being toxic, and then the black man, and they're saying bitches and hoes and all this. It's like, where's the respect? Why isn't anyone calling them out? Well, it's acceptable. It's okay because he's Snoop Dogg. He parties with Martha Stewart. And now they're going to do their blunts and they're going to do this. I have never smoked a blunt. I've never done pot, never done anything illegal, none of that stuff. And I don't have to. Oh, okay, now people want to smoke pot. That's your business. Just don't come around me. I don't like the smell. And for all these people who are talking about the climate, now look at the contradiction here. Save the world. Look at all the smoke. Look at this. Okay, what about cannabis? What about smoking pot? What about that? But these are the same people who are pushing it. I find it interesting when people are talking to me about the atmosphere and the pollution and smoke pollution and all everything, and then they light up a cigarette. I'm like, are you serious? You're going to tell me about pollution and you're lighting a cigarette. You're smoking weed, you're smoking pot, or doing whatever. And now you got John Boehner. He's in on it. Oh, what? The guy is a major loser, okay? The only thing he did when he was, and now he's on Fox and he's on this show and he's on that show, pontificating. I'm like, dude, go away. You left the house in disgrace. After meeting the Pope, you cried and you said, oh, I've got to do something different. So you go away, try to rehabilitate yourself, and then you come back attacking President Trump, attacking Ted Cruz, attacking everyone else, but you fail to call out your own shortcomings. So, of course, liberals love him now. It's like they hate you, then they love you when you're talking their kind of talk. So Boehner, he's just right up there. Oh, yeah, he's buying into cannabis because, of course, he's looking at lining his wallet with a lot of money. It's really sick. Okay, it's really sick. Conservatives, it's really sick how we sit back and we attack people that are doing positive stuff. I just don't get it. I really don't get it. And as I said earlier, we've lost the social warfare to the Democrats. We've gave up so much ground. And there are so many conservatives that have money that could go in and do startups. like a Twitter. Twitter should be shut down or split up. The same with Facebook and
That's
Google.
right.
And you know what, Andrew? They wouldn't mind. You know why? Because they don't want anyone else to replicate their success.
Mhm.
So if they were to come in and split them up, it's like, oh, okay, fine. Look at what they did for Microsoft. Oh, okay, fine, do it. Because they don't want their success replicated.
Mhm.
Knowing all along, a decade later, they'll come back together. But at the moment, they should take away the protection of Section 230 from Twitter. I mean, just take it away. I don't want to hear any more about them being a private company. That's bull. Private or not private, you don't have the right to censor people at that level being so large. Take it away. Push it. That should be at the top of the list. And as I said, President Trump should have pushed for that. But of course, I'm sure Mitch McConnell and some of the other knuckleheads that probably had, something to do with it did not want it to happen. And now look at what's going on.
Rob, that's one of the main reasons that I'm really happy we got on AmericaOutloud.com and talk radio is because we had to rely on Twitter before, and it's so nice to not have to need Twitter or rely on it whatsoever. Like you said, it should be taken down, and it almost like you feel guilty spending any time on that app because you know how corrupt it is.
Extremely corrupt, and they can shut you down within a moment's notice. Shut you down like, okay, fine, we don't like you anymore. Meanwhile, you have terrorists that are out there making threats. You have people being nasty on the Democrat side. And they attack President Trump saying, oh, he's running policy on Twitter. And you have every other politician stating their opinion, saying what they're going to do and not do. Defund the police, Rashid Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, AOC, they're all doing things on social media. Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Maxine Waters. Although she probably has one of her aides doing it for. But Trump, it was a disgrace. Oh my God, no. Know how to do it. He can barely get out and speak. But when Trump did it, or conservatives, they're constantly They are constantly talked about. Now that brings me to my next topic that I definitely want to get on, because I've been thinking about this for quite some time. And I mentioned it on a couple of shows ago. And it's really weighing heavy on me now, Andrew. And I'm going to put it out there because I saw a piece on Facebook News about CNN, and they're saying that they're mixing things up on their morning show. And they're going to put this lady, Breonna Taylor, on with John Berman because they're two up-in-your-face journalists and they say it like they mean it and yada, yada, yada. Now, as we all know, CNN is fake news. They can't get a story straight if they tried. Look at the mess they did with COVID-19. Look at Chris Cuomo, who's still on after having a love fest with his brother who killed 15,000 people, elderly people. And I'm yet to get the breakdown as to who were they. Because if we were saying that Blacks were harmed more so by COVID-19, I would venture to say that 15,000 had to be alarmingly Black.
Mhm.
But of course, we'll never know. But back to my point. CNN, their new deal of New Day, they're going to be hot and heavy and up in your face and just going to knock it out the park with, of course, more lies. So I was thinking about us, Andrew. I'm like, on our show on America Out Loud, streamed on iHeartRadio, Spotify, the podcast, and iTunes, and Stritchy or whatever that is. And I said, we'd like to bill ourselves as being up in your face also. No holds barred. Tell it like we mean it. And we just say it. You're white, I'm Black. Just in case people didn't know. You're a male and I'm a male. We're both alpha males. No beta males here. But, the previous shows that we've had on American Out Loud, we've been just like really out there with our guest, Fernando Mateo. He was on and he just like ripped a new one into Curtis Sliwa, whom I've reached out to and said, hey, come on the show. And he hasn't said anything. I guess he's afraid of us, Andrew. And he's a guardian angel. I'm to ask the guy politely, come on the show. What is your problem? I reached out to McGuire. I asked him to come on the show. I sent him an email. Now, I kind of got the email kind of screwy, so if you guys see that, please overlook it. But I reached out to him. Andrew Yang, I reached out to him also, and I said, come on the show. We want to give you a platform. We want you to tell us why we New Yorkers should vote for you, because New York is a big city, New York City, and we need a mayor, a transformational mayor, and we don't need someone like de Blasio. So I've asked all these guys. Fernando Mateo was man enough. He came on the show. Bill Pepitone, man enough. They both came on the show. So they're at the top of the list. Curtis Sliwa, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know if you're still trying to be a talk show host, but I'm asking you to come on the show and let us know why we should vote for you. We have a huge platform. Why are you running? Well, McGuire, why are you running? I reached out to your folks. If you're going to help the city, you need to come on the show and let the folks know what you're going to do. Simple as that.
That's
Andrew
right.
Yang, the guy who wants to give people money. He's Asian. I'm sure a lot of Asian people are looking at him saying that he'll be the savior. Okay, fine, but you've got to be the mayor for the blacks, the whites, the Greek, the Jews, Hispanics, the Italians, the Irish. I'm extending an invitation to all of you. I sent you an email. Again, the email got kind of wanky there. Doesn't matter. And you know what I'm talking about, Andrew. But it doesn't matter. I'm asking you now. Come on the show. If anyone who's out there listening, please reach out to them and let them know we want them to come on the show. They will have a huge platform. iHeartRadio.
We don't bite.
Spotify. Right. We don't bite. I know you hear a dog in the background, but we don't bite. We want you on the show to tell us what it's all about. And the reason I'm saying this, because I'm going to get to my point, that I'm like going all around the fence to get to it. Something that I've been talking about is Barack Obama. And Andrew, I know you probably know where I'm going with this. So just, allow me to just divulge, indulge me for a couple of seconds here. The 44th president. I did not vote for Barack Obama in 2008 because I felt that people weren't voting for him because he could do the job. I felt that they were voting for him because he was black. I think a lot of liberals voted for him because he was black. I think a lot of moderates. I also think that some conservatives voted for him also because he was black. He made them feel safe because they were comfortable around him. Some said he was good looking. Okay, if that's your type, whatever. He was clean cut, well spoken. So they voted for him. And not for once, but twice. Now, I'm gonna let the cat out the bag. In 2012, I begrudgingly voted for him. Yes, I admit it, I did it, because I did not like Mitt Romney. And now I see why I didn't like Mitt Romney. Well, I didn't like Barack Obama either. I voted for McCain in 2008. God knows that would have been a disaster, even more than Barack Obama. So Barack Obama got in 2008. 2012, like I said, I don't know who you voted for, Andrew, but I did begrudgingly because I just didn't like Mitt Romney. And I voted for him in 2012, not because he was a black man, but I said, hey, he's made a mess. Let him continue along those lines. But I was extremely hard on him, and rightfully so. So when I look back on his time in office, 2 terms, and I think about now what's happening in society. And the way I look at his administration, what's happening in society now is what happened in 2008 and 2012 when you put a premium on diversity. You don't get the best candidate, you just get a candidate. And I think that's what happened in 2008 and 2012. A premium was placed on diversity, and we got Barack Obama. What did Barack Obama do that was significant, transformative for society? Now, some would say, well, they've let white guys get it, so why not let a black guy get it? Well, I represent to you that he was the first this. If you're the first at anything, you have to be the best. If you're the first Italian in a position, you have to be the best. You can't half step. So when you hear people talking about putting a premium on diversity, just point to them. Well, we did that in 2008 and 2012, and look at what we got. Absolutely nothing. Now, I've oftentimes said that where we are in society right now is a direct result of Barack's lack of policies, lack of vision, just being there. There's so much turmoil in society. And I remember so clearly people were telling us that if a black man was elected or a black person, things would change. I don't see a change for the better. What I see is more turmoil, divisiveness, hate, and we can't pull it back together. Trump didn't cause this. Okay. Trump came in and tried to correct this. He pointed it out. He said, these are the people that you've elected. Barack Obama caused this. Unfortunately, the American people caused this by putting a premium on diversity. We voted for a man who had no business being in the White House. We voted for a man who was only elected because of the color of his skin and not the content of his character. And that is extremely unfortunate and sad. But we felt, or some felt, that if we vote for him, we will show that we're not racist. We will prove to them that we're better. When in actuality, we were better before him and without him. We were getting to that place of accepting one another. What he did was just put us against each other. That's what happens when you're putting a premium on diversity. Mm-hmm. So what would society be like had we never voted for Barack Obama?
Wow, well said, Rob. And I believe that President Trump was on the way to getting us back to that place of coming together. Everyone was working. The unemployment was the lowest it had ever been. And then the COVID-19 happened, and the media stirred up everybody with the George Floyd situation, and it totally just knocked everything off balance. But you're so right. That's the reason that we got President Trump, was because of 8 years of Barack Obama. Everyone was sick of it. Finally, someone who was not a politician, who was not going to adhere to the special interests like Barack Obama had done. And quite frankly, America was sick of all the race baiting and the division that Barack Obama brought along with him as well. And then President Trump came in, and sure enough, he turned things around in the first 3 years. And then we were hit with this Wu flu, COVID-19. And then the George Floyd incident happened, and the media did all they could to rally everyone up. And we're seeing it once again now with Maxine Waters in Minnesota. And as you said, Rob, if Barack Obama was never president, I think America would be a much better place. I don't think we would see this rush to socialism that we are seeing now. A candidate like Bernie Sanders would have been laughed out of the room 20 years ago. And I think it still would have been like that. But Barack Obama had a lot of socialist policies himself, like this Obamacare, which we've all had to deal with. And from my perspective, it's been a complete disaster. one of the worst things ever implemented in the government was Obamacare. I mean, it's cost so many people so much money, ruined so many people's insurance, and then the Democrats expect us to want to put them in charge of insurance again. It just makes no sense.
Yeah, and I wrote about this, and I put this on social media, that Barack Obama, oh, I got half a thought. They left the office the most polarizing couple ever. She has gone out and hasn't said anything constructive or positive about Melania. Now, she can say, oh, well, look at what he said about my husband. He could have put my husband's life at risk. Michelle, that's politics. Things are said in politics. But once it's over, the races are over, you shake hands and you move forward. So all her suppositioning and saying that, oh, he did this, my family, he could have put them, he threatened their lives. It's like, Michelle, get over yourself. But not once has she said anything positive about our 45th First Lady, because she is insecure. I mean, I hate to go there, but I've just been thinking about this, and wondering who out there could stand up and speak and bring the country together and say, hey, let's stop this. Maxine Waters, leave Minnesota. Stop flaming the flames of discord. Stop telling people to get rowdy. Stop it.
Mm-hmm.
But he can't do it. He can't do it because he's in on it. I think that he welcomes this kind of division, this confusion. So the two of them, Barack and Michelle, in my opinion, are the most polarizing first couple we have ever had. And because they're still young, there's more damage that they can do to society as opposed to good.
Mm-hmm.
I think at any given point in time, if he wanted to, he could come out and say, and it has to go along these lines: we've been wrong, I've been wrong, and we need to change courses. This has to stop. The acrimony in society now has to stop. We need to stop blaming people. President Trump was the 45th president. You probably didn't like his politics. You probably don't like him. But he was the 45th president, and he loved this country. But he won't say it. Even W. Bush, the second Bush, I don't care for him. He wants to come out now and talk about, immigration. Like, save it. I don't need to hear it. Okay? Because you can't come out and say the same thing. But while we might disagree with Trump's delivery, without a doubt, he loved this country. He loves his country.
Mm-hmm.
And the way things have been construed is most unfortunate. Now, folks, I'm going to have to take a quick break. Andrew, you have to do the rest of the talking because I've got to turn off my alarm system that's going off. And I'll be back with you guys, okay? Hold on.
All right. Hopefully, Rob is not getting his house robbed right there. But yeah, Barack Obama was a complete disaster, as Rob was just saying. He cannot get out of the limelight and the spotlight, and he just continues to be all over the news. I feel like he's been a black eye on this country because before Barack Obama, we had presidents who actually gave you the impression that they loved America and they would support her no matter what. I mean, you look at the 9/11 attack. George Bush had to deal with it, obviously, but you didn't have Bill Clinton coming there and criticizing him every move that he makes. When Barack Obama became president, George Bush was not criticizing Barack Obama all the time. And then you have President Trump become president, and Barack Obama cannot keep his mouth shut. He just continues to divide the country, act like he still has some kind of power when he has none. He's a former president. He should be retired, but the guy just will not go away, and he continues to divide the country through race. And anytime a situation like this occurs, he's always dividing, blaming the police officers, just like when he was president, never having the police officer's side, and always just looking to race bait and rile people up. How's everything going over there, Rob?
It's going good. Something just tripped the alarm, and I want to go and turn it off. So, but I'm back. This happens when you're live and on air.
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, speaking of Maxine Waters and Jesse Jackson, how they're over in this Brooklyn Center, Minnesota. You know what my theory on that, Rob, was?
What?
they read that New York Post article about that owner of Black Lives Matter having 5 houses, that one girl. And they said, we need to book us a flight to Minnesota. We are getting outdone at our own hustle. So they got their butts to Brooklyn Center, Minnesota.
I like that. They're getting out hustled in their own hustle. Yeah, it's also interesting, equally interesting, how Facebook is like shutting down anyone who's mentioning, her Patrice Cullors' 5 houses. Now, my article is still up, but this is, blacks getting had. I just, it's beyond my realm of thinking that this woman, co-founder of Black Lives Matter, is running a scam on blacks, running a scam on the population as a whole. Now, it's easy for her to do it on white liberals because they feel like they've done so much to blacks and they've got to like compensate. But I said this once before on the show, Black Lives Matter. Christopher Wray, or FBI director, who's as pathetic as they come. I think he was, suggested to President Trump by Chris Christie, whom I will never vote for if he runs for president. Never, ever, ever. And if I change my mind, please call me on it, because I think he's nothing but a big doofus. I will never vote for him. But Christopher Wray said that it's just an idea, it's a thought. Okay, if it's an idea and a thought, I'm going to let you guys in on something. I used to be in finance. And someone is banking Black Lives Matter because they're getting all this money from Amazon, Coca-Cola, all these different corporations. And I think that they almost donated close to $1 billion to Black Lives Matter. That money has to go to someone's bank account. I'm sure they're just not writing a check directly to Patrice Cullors or any of the other organizers of Black Lives Matter. But so far, we've heard that there's one guy over Black Lives Matter who was running a scam. He, too, went on a spending spree, buying clothes and cars and whatnot. Of course, the media won't talk about it. We have Patrice Cullors. So these companies are donating money to this entity. It has to go inside of some bank account. Before a bank can open up an account, you have to prove existence, just like an individual. You have to have ID. The ID for an institution or an entity, articles of incorporation, a certification that you have filed in some state showing your existence, your bylaws, just tax ID number. Where is that information? Because you can't open up an account unless you have it. So when Wray is saying it's just an idea, I'm like, well, who's banking these people? And whatever bank is banking them should be fined for not doing their due diligence of CIP, Customer Identification Program, KYC, Know Your Client. So when they tell you that it's just an idea and they have all this money, someone's lying, because that money has to go to someone's bank. And in order for it to go to that bank, they have to prove legal existence. So documentation has to have been filed in some state proving the existence. They also have to have on file who the officers are, the signers of the account, because anyone just can't go into the bank and write checks or request funds. So again, this has been just one big lie that this entity is just an idea. And the people on the Hill know it, that they know that you don't know it and that you're not going to question it. But I know, so I'm sharing this with you. So it's a lie. And Patrice Cullors, she's probably made herself the head president of it. So she's getting all this money and she's buying mansions and houses and vacation homes in the heart of the oppressors, the white oppressors, the people that she claims are against Black people. And you know what else, Andrew? I bet you anything she's gone out and hired a couple of security guards who are probably former policemen to protect her little compound. But yet still they're telling us that we don't need the police. We need to reimagine. Reimagine for what? What they want to do is they want to take the control of the police from the city and give it to the communities. And when that happens, they can call the police on anyone in that community that they don't like and surveil them and lock them up, because then they're answering to the overlords of the community. We don't want that. But this is what they're telling you. This is what they're trying to push. Tlaib Rashid, oh, I don't want to hear anything about police not being racist. They're not racist. The people who are calling them racist are the racist individuals. They're lawlessness. And then to have some of these Republican mayors to buy into it and governors because they're afraid, step down, get back, get out of the way. We don't need you. We have given up too much ground, and we continue to give up ground when we try to appease them. You cannot appease them. You cannot apologize. You can never give an apology that they will accept, because they will want more and more and more. You give them an inch, they will take a mile, and then another mile. And then before you know it, you have nothing. And that is where Republicans are now. So when I hear all these people that are complaining with, oh, the Democrats, they're going to try to change the face of the court. They're going to try to make D.C. a state. They're going to try to make Puerto Rico a state. Folks, they can literally do it. They can do it. The Republic hangs on the thread of two individuals on the Democrat side, Joe Manchin and then this lady in Arizona. If they're able to get to them and get them to decide to vote with them, that's it. So while people are saying, like Karl Rove, oh, it will never happen. Oh, really? You said that some of the things they're doing now would never happen, and it's happening. You said that Joe Biden would never become president, and it's happening. I don't like Karl Rove. I know he gives a lot of political analysis and whatnot, but when it really mattered, he wasn't there. He was not there. Plain and simple. He wasn't there. So when I hear this stuff, I'm like, no, not at all. Not at all. We've given up too much ground, and it's time for us to take back ground.
Yeah, well said, Rob. So much in the news this weekend, and we've definitely been busy, me and you personally. I mean, we've got tons of shows lined up. We've already had so many great guests on America Out Loud. We started off with a bang with King Randall. What an amazing story he had. Then we've already brought on our friend, attorney Manny Alejandro. He was a fantastic guest.
Oh, yeah.
As you mentioned, candidate for mayor of New York City, Fernando Mateo. He has an incredible story. Had a heart-wrenching episode with Angel Mom Agnes Gibney. And then, of course, we had on journalist Heather Robinson. And next week, we plan on having a big set of shows, hopefully BB Diamond, governor candidate of California, Rhonda Furran will be joining us. So, yeah, just keep an eye out on AmericaOutloud.com or America Out Loud on iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Apple Podcast, Android. We're on more things than what we know the names of, as Rob said earlier. So yeah, just find us there.
Yeah, we're all over, and we're happy about it. We were shut down on Twitter, and now we have a larger platform. And you won't see our faces, but you'll definitely hear our voices. I know a lot of you like to see our teeth. Well, hey, we'll come in every once in a while so you can see our teeth on Facebook, but you will still get to hear our powerful alpha male voices, telling you the truth, unvarnished, unscripted, up in your face. And that is the reason why I was sharing with you, and we're sharing with you, our position on Barack Obama. Because, I don't think he's an alpha male. I think he's a beta male, if that, So, hey.
Yeah, we've talked a little bit about Barack Obama, but before we go tonight, you want to talk a little bit about our current commander-in-chief, I say that loosely,
Yeah.
President Joe Biden, and the job that he is doing, and then his vice president, Kamala Harris.
Yep.
I don't know about you, Rob, but Biden, it seems like, lets Psaki basically do everything for him, because this guy is never doing interviews. He's never taking questions. He's never updating the American people. Just like we've seen in the campaign, it just feels like he's completely owned, and his handlers are doing everything for him.
Yeah, I've noticed that. And like you said, they're loosely commander-in-chief. What I find interesting is that he came out and said that Kamala Harris was going to be over the border issue, border crisis. She was going to monitor it and whatnot. He said it. She never went there. And apparently, I'm hearing that behind the scenes, she said, "Oh no, I'm not. That you're setting me up for failure." So she refused, and then they backed back and said, "Well, no, she's going to be the ombudsman. She's going to be the face. She's going to be the communicator." Okay, if she's the communicator, who's in charge of it? Because it's ripping at the seams. And today or yesterday, he came out and finally said that there's a crisis at the border. Now, people should be up in arms that these kids, illegal aliens, are coming here by the droves. And only now, Joe Biden has decided to admit that it's a crisis. I said before that I think President Trump should just go down there. He should make his presence known. Maybe he's trying to respect the office and not do it, but I think he should go. But then too, if he went, the media might try to, flip it on him. Well, he went and they're all coming. I don't know. But I will say one thing. When 45 was there, he shut that down with a heartbeat. He got Mexico to agree, look, you better keep your folks or we're going to cut off what we're giving you. And they did it. Whereas with Biden, who's weak, feeble, and frail, and when people say, well, he's just in office, he's less than 100 days, give him a chance. Yeah, but he's messed up everything. Trump gave him a perfectly legit country, and he has messed it up. And now, Andrew, I'm hearing that in May, or it's the 29th of this month, he's supposed to address both houses of Congress. I thought that usually took place like in January. So I guess he's rehearsed enough that now he's going to do it. I just can't believe how the media is letting this guy get away with so much stuff. And this is how China will be able to come in and wreak havoc on us. Putin has called him out. All these countries know that he's weak. And you have people running around saying, oh, well, he's this, he's that. And someone said once, well, I was just tired. I wanted things to go back to normal. I was so tired. I was exhausted with Trump. Exhausted? Well, if you're exhausted, sit down, because what we're about to encounter, you might not know. Because China ain't playing with us. They want to go in and take over Taiwan. They want to supplant the United States as being the superpower. And Russia, we'll be so busy with Russia, and China will just waltz right in. And we know these big companies aren't going to say anything about it. They will allow it because they're telling us, oh, nothing to see here. And they'll shut it down because China will tell them, don't show this to your people. The next thing you know, United States of China. Do we want that to happen? Are we going to let it happen? So that's all I have. Glad I could come out, and be with you guys tonight. Like I said, we wanted to, connect with you. Every so often, we might do one of these once a month, depending on our schedule. But we saw an opening in the schedule tonight, and I said, "Hey, Andrew, let's do it. Let's show them our teeth. Let's get back out there," and we did it.
Yeah, and be sure to go to iHeartRadio and subscribe to America Out Loud. Tomorrow night, we've got a big show that we think you guys will really enjoy. Pastor Samuel Jones. This guy is impressive. 28-year-old pastor, already the author of the book, 5 Steps to Kill a Nation. He's sure to be a fantastic guest and a really smart kid.
Yep. So thank you for joining us. And Andrew, I'm going to let you do your fave shutdown or closing us out, because I can't do it. I always stumble over it, always messing up. So go for it, buddy.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us tonight on After Dark with Rob and Andrew on YouTube and Facebook. And we will be back tomorrow night on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcast, America Out Loud apps on Apple, Android, just about anything you can get America Out Loud on. We will be back tomorrow night at 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 6 in the West. So remember, you stand for something or you will fall for nothing. Thanks, everyone. Have a great